Some watches arrive and you know immediately what they are. And then every so often one arrives and we just sit with it for a minute before saying anything at all. That was our reaction with the Geya G78182 from the brand's Celestial series. So rather than rush into specifications, let's actually sit with this one together, starting from the moment the box landed in front of us. Even the box wants you to slow down. It all begins with a simple cardboard outer package, modest in appearance. But once you lift the lid, another box waits inside, wrapped in a leather-textured finish that immediately feels more considered. Lifting this presentation box out of the outer packaging, you're greeted by the practical companions tucked neatly beneath it, a warranty card, a user manual, and the rest of the accessories. Then comes the main event. Opening the presentation box, you finally meet the watch itself, resting on its own leather pillow. Now, lifting it free of that pillow, the first thing you notice is the silence of it. Not literal silence, but visual. Nothing on this dial is moving, nothing at all. It just sits there, dense and intricate, withholding itself, almost daring you to figure out how it works before it shows you. And that's because it's asleep. It needs winding. So we flip the folding lever tucked into the case back. Turn it clockwise, and there's a small, almost ceremonial resistance to it at first. A bit fiddly, even for patient fingers. But then, turn by turn, something shifts. The balance wheel and flying wheel begin to stir at 12 o'clock, and down at 6, a miniature Earth begins its slow, almost reluctant rotation, as though it's been dormant and is only now remembering how to move. And just like that, what was a static piece of art a moment ago becomes something closer to a living orrery on your wrist. Now, the numbers attached to this watch read intimidating. There's no softening that. A 46mm dial, 22mm of total thickness. On paper, that's a watch that should overwhelm a wrist. But here's the quiet twist in the story. The actual case body is closer to 13mm, and almost all of that remaining height comes from the dramatically domed crystal, rising above it like a small glass observatory. So when it actually settles onto your wrist, the experience contradicts the spec sheet. It doesn't loom the way you'd brace for. The weight distributes itself outward across the dial rather than piling straight up, and somehow the whole thing finds its balance. And once it's there, take a slower look with us, because this dial isn't designed like a watch face, so much as a small solar system caught mid-orbit. 2 axes cross through its centre, and at each point along them, a different chapter unfolds. At 12, the balance wheel and flying wheel perform their decorative motion, purely theatrical, purely for the eye. At 9, almost humbly tucked away, sits the actual time, quietly doing the one job the rest of the dial seems uninterested in. At 3, a faceted crystal stands in as a planet, catching light at odd, flattering angles. And at 6, that small Earth continues its rotation, patient and unhurried. Beneath it all, a deep midnight blue canvas, scattered with fine points of light like a captured night sky, with small planetary spheres placed in quiet symmetry across the surface. It's a lot to absorb in one glance, and it doesn't apologise for that. And here, the story takes its most interesting turn. Watching that balance wheel spin away up top, your instinct tells you this is a fully mechanical watch, through and through. But it isn't. Quietly, almost secretly, the actual timekeeping is handled by a Swiss caliber 756 quartz module, accurate to around plus or minus 0.07 seconds a day. Running on a battery built to last close to 7 years before it asks anything of you. Meanwhile, the mechanical heart, hand-wound, deliberate, exists for one reason only: to perform. It drives the rotating Earth, animates those layered gears, and asks for a fresh wind roughly every 2 days for about 48 hours of motion in return. So beneath one dial, you're really wearing 2 separate intentions. One working in silence to keep accurate time, the other existing purely to be watched. It's a curious piece of design philosophy, and it leaves you with a genuine question to carry forward. Does a watch earn more of your respect by doing one thing perfectly, or by daring to do two different things at once, even imperfectly? We let that sit with you for a moment. Turn it over, and the case back carries its own quiet flourish. An engraved astronaut and planet, alongside the winding lever and a recessed time-setting button, where a short press nudges the minutes, and a long press carries the hour forward. The strap, in contrast, chooses restraint. 22 millimeters of leather, alligator pattern embossing, a branded buckle, nothing loud, nothing competing for attention it doesn't need. And given everything happening above it, that restraint feels almost deliberate, like the watch knows where its real performance lives. So sitting back from it now, what do we actually think? There's genuine ambition stitched into this design, and the echo of something like a Jacob & Co. Astronomia is impossible to ignore. Though, fairly, the distance in execution and price between the two is wide enough that holding them side by side wouldn't be fair to either. What you're left with instead is a watch built for spectacle over precision, for storytelling over instinctive legibility, and that's a trade worth being honest with yourself about before it earns a permanent place in your rotation. We think this has plenty of merit as an occasional conversation-starting piece, but do be mindful about your use case here, because daily wear was likely never the ambition behind it. So tell us, would something like this find a home on your wrist, or does it lean a touch too theatrical for where you usually sit? Let us know down in the comments. And if this one held your attention the way it held ours, a like and a subscribe means more than you'd think for the channel. Until next time, take care.